So first of all, I thank the organizing committee and the board of eminent panel members for giving this chance. My name is Varun Dev, and I am right now doing my PhD at School of Indian Legal Thought, Mahatma Gandhi University, and also I am working as a assistant professor in Kerala Law Academy Law College. So today, the paper that I'm going to present here is regarding the Uniform Civil Code. Actually, since our country is going for a shift from unifying its personal laws through uniform civil code, and the recent trend have been, the initiative has been begun from the government side. I thought this has a great relevance to the present context. So the title of this paper is regarding harmonizing personal laws, feasibility and implications of uniform civil code in India. So, as an introduction, we can say that the issue of personal laws in India has been a subject of extensive debate, reflecting the diverse cultural, religious, and social fabrics of the nation. The call for a uniform civil code has been contentious topic aiming to create a single set of laws governing personal matters irrespective of religious affiliations. This paper delves into the feasibility and multifaceted implications of implementing a uniform civil code in India. So, in this paper, it examines the historic context, legal complexities, and the societal implications and the challenges associated with harmonizing personal laws. So, the personal laws has a great importance in our country, India, because India is, as we know, India in the preamble itself, India is stated as a secular nation, and our notion of secularism means India doesn't have any specific religion as its own, but it gives space for all the religions to dwell into the subject matter. And also, our secularism allows the religions to promote themselves and also profess by the any person, irrespective of who they are. So, our secularism are very much different from the Western philosophy of secularism, where they deny or they does not allow religions with the national constitution or the basic laws. So, in our context, when we consider the personal laws, we have to understand that in India, there was a long cultural or customary practices of being followed by the religion. And for example, in case of Hindus, they are the Hindu or religious, like which has been evolved from the Manu law, code of law. Then we have the Islamic law, which derive its source from the Quran and the Hadith literatures, and also the Ijma consensus by the Muslim scholars. So each sector of people or the religious sector of people has their own customary practices, and it has a very deep-rooted historic relevance for that practices specific to different faiths. So in that sense, the unifying the personal laws in India was found to be a very much challenging one, and any such a activity or any such action to make the laws into a written one has been in the British colonial era, where the British rule recognized and codified various religious laws to govern personal matters for the different religious communities. And after the India got independence, uh, Indian government give importance to the religious values. They have been followed by the religious sector people. Since their personal laws also got recognized or in a method of manner for only for their own purposes. So in that sense, the we have to I like to point out the one more thing that even during the Constitutional Assembly debates, where the most of the members uh, again have gone against the proposal by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar for having a uniform civil code, and but since the members are against it, they couldn't pass it. But for the sake of that proposal or to keep that proposal alive in the Indian Constitution, the B.R. Ambedkar made it as a ratification state policy under Article 44, in which the state have to strive towards formulating a uniform civil code for the citizens. So when the evolution is considered, as I stated before, in pre-independence period, India witnessed initial discussions on social reforms, including the need for a uniform set of civil laws to replace diverse personal laws. But mostly the religion has a very deep-rooted travel on the lives of the people, it couldn't happen. And even during the forming of the Indian Constitution, uh, as I said before, the B.R. Ambedkar and also the Constitutional Assembly members like K. Munshi also batted for constituting a uniform civil code, but it couldn't be implemented because of the strong opposition from the other members. And also at that time, where the country is having a religious drift between each other, the Constitution Assembly doesn't thought it will be wise to implement a uniform civil code, challenging their religious parts. So that's why that couldn't happen then. After independence, the debate intensified, and the various proponents advocating for uniform civil code to promote national unity and gender equality happened, but it couldn't get any chance. So the statement of the problem and objectives related to the paper is the first the constitution of devised personal laws based on religion in India pose challenges to legal uniformity, social harmony, and gender equality, because it is like in a home each person having their own ways of living in that home, and it cannot have a uniform identical path, which could leads to challenges posed between their interrelations. And this paper also highlights the complexities arising from conflicting legal framework governing marriage, divorce, inheritance, etc. for different religious communities. So from the that statement, we have evolved four objectives to assess the feasibility of implementing a uniform civil code in India, to harmonizing personal laws and promoting legal uniformity. Then the second objective will be to analyze the potential implication of universal civil code on society dynamics, equity, individual rights, and religious freedom. Third one is the systematic analyze the doctrinal sources to derive insight into the legal principle, identifying gaps, and assess the practicality of implementing a universal code in India. The fourth is to compare and contrast legal system from other countries that have adopted universal civil code like reforms, and also utilize the research also utilize a qualitative approach to delve into specific cases, deriving valuable insight into the challenges, successes, and the social implication of universal civil code like reforms, mining the framework, successes, challenges, and relevance to the Indian context. Basically, from this objectives, it is clearly stated that the methodology adopted is a doctrine research one, and the primary data will be regarding the constitutional debates, literatures, and also the basic laws, the primary laws passed by the legislature. And secondary is on the various comments made by the jurists regarding these matters. Case study is also being adopted for understanding the various matters related to the personal laws in India. So, in an overview, we can say that in here, each sector of religious have their own ways of their own personal laws enacted and passed by the legislature for representative communities. For example, in Hindu, there is a Hindu Marriage Act 1955, which deals with Hindu marriage and Hindu divorces. For in case of Christian, there is Indian Christian Marriage Act and Indian Divorce Act, which deals with the Christian community marriages and divorces. And in case of Muslims, the basic the basic law that is governing the marriage and divorce is the Quran and the Hadith literature. And for the sake of the uniformity, followed by the Muslim community among themselves, there is a Muslim Resolution of Marriage Act as also passed by the legislature. So in this table itself, you can find that the diversity in family laws. Here we have taken only one aspect to make you understand how diversified is the each community with respect to the religion they are following. So in the aspect of marriage, we have taken here eight elements, that is solemnization, eligibility, conditions, polygamy, diverse procedure, grounds for divorce, legal recognition, marital marriage. And from the table itself, we can find that each community has a different way of procedure for each of these. For example, if we consider the polygamy, in Hindu personal laws or even the Hindu Marriage Act 1955, polygamy has been originally prohibited, whereas in the Christian marriage, Indian Christian Marriage Act also, the polygamy is prohibited. Hence, in both these communities, they cannot marry more wives or more than one wife at a time. But in case of Muslim personal law, it is permitted under certain conditions. Actually, in Muslim personal laws, a Muslim person can marry four wives at a time. So these types of general variations are happening in personal laws with respect to each community. Now, what are the legal and puristic then the legal and heuristic implications of personal laws. Basically, the heuristic personal laws create a fragmented legal landscape with the different religious communities governed by distinct law. The coexistence of multiple legal systems pose challenges in the application and interpretation law. Hence, in case of territorial diversification and also in the religious diversification, each community has their own personal laws which cause a conflicting confusion among the people and also it leads to other societal problems also. So in a society which for a social cohesion, there must be uniformity in the way of life they are going through. Hence, these pluralistic personal laws must have a uniformity which asks for the implementation of this code. And also, the conflicting legal interpretations and the practices among religious communities can lead to inter-religious conflict, which has been a major issue posed in the present scenario of the Indian politics. So, the uniform civil code is a move towards being uniform towards legally unifying personal laws without posing challenges to the religious beliefs the community is following. Hence, that uniform civil code has been a challenging subject of discuss and debate among the Indian communities. Now, when we speak about the feasibility of universal civil Article 44 of the Indian Constitution directs the state to endeavor towards the uniform civil code, stating that the state shall endeavor to secure for the citizen a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Here, that Article 44 is the one part of the directive principal state policy which cannot be enforced through a court of law. Because these directive state policies are just recommendations made by the farmers of the Indian Constitution or the Constitutional Assembly to make the Constitution futuristic and giving a direction to the leaders of the Indian community to have a vision towards a more welfare society. The debate surrounding the implementation of Universal Civil Code involves balancing fundamental rights with the directive principle. While Article 44 is a directive principle, it has not been made enforceable by the judiciary, allowing for diverse personal laws to function. Hence, even at this point of time, implementing Universal Civil Code becoming more and more complex, other than a procedure way of implementing a law. So basically, the critic argued, uh, sorry. Basically, critics argue that a universal code might encroach upon religious freedoms guaranteed by the article under the Constitution, Article 25 to 28, which is part of the fundamental rights for the person by imposing a universal set of laws that could interfere with religious practice and custom. Here, I want to weigh in one important part that from Article 25 to 28, which provides religious freedom to the each individual, the state has the right to impose restriction based on the common welfare of the community. Here, it was also as it also it was also stated by the drafting chairman of Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, with that. Yeah, even the religious freedom has been identified under the Indian Constitution. The state has its own right to uh, impose certain restriction on these rights for making the law be more productive for the entire community. Then, when it comes into the comparative analysis, here we have identified five countries where we have making a comparative analysis with respect to the implementation of universal civil code. Here, the first country, the France. France has a long history of a secular legal system, culminating in the Napoleon Code. It emphasizes uniformity in civil laws, including marriage, divorce, and inheritance, irrespective of religious affiliation. This approach prioritizes state laws over religious. When it comes to Turkey, Turkey implemented a comprehensive civil code in the early 20th century, largely based on Swiss and German legal models. It aimed to modernize family laws, emphasizing gender equality and secular principles, moving away from religious-based laws. Then, when the third country is Tunisia, Tunisia introduced a code of personal status in the 1950s, significantly reforming family laws. It aimed to improve women's rights, including right to divorce, inheritance, and child custody, while incorporating aspects of Islamic law with a civil framework. Then we have also studied about Israel. Israel employs a complex legal system where personal matters like marriage, divorce, and inheritance are governed by the religious codes for Jews, Muslims, Christians, and Jews. However, there have been debates on the need for greater civil oversight in family matters. In the case of Germany, German follows a legal framework where civil courts primarily govern family law, but allow certain religious practices to influence family matters, especially for faith communities that opt for religious arbitration or mediation. Then, in case of Iran, Iran operates under an Islamic legal system where family laws are primarily based on Islamic jurisprudence. The legal system incorporates Islamic principles into civil and family matters with a certain portion derived from Sharia law. Comparative insights show diverse approaches to family laws, ranging from secular legal systems promoting uniform civil codes to systems allowing religious laws to coexist with a civil framework. These experience highlights varying degrees of success in balancing religious practices, legal uniformity, and societal needs. Lessons from these countries can inform discussions in India about the feasibility, challenges, and potential outcome of implementing a uniform civil code. Then, impact on individual rights and freedoms. Basically, the gender equality is one of the major issues which has been raised by for the for implementing uniform civil code. A uniform civil code could ensure equal rights for men and women in matters of marriage, divorce, inheritance, and succession, mitigating gender-based discrimination prevalent in some personal laws. It aims to provide uniform rights and treatment to all citizens, irrespective of religion, promoting equality before the law. And also next is the individual autonomy. Universal code might grant individual greater autonomy and the freedom to choose their personal laws without being constrained by religious affiliations or community-based laws. Then, when it comes to the right to personal beliefs and practices, critics argue that a universal code might encroach upon religious freedom by imposing a uniform set of laws, potentially conflicting with religious beliefs or practices. There could be appreciations among minority communities about potential erosion of their cultural or religious practices due to uniform code that might not reflect their specific custom, which leads to these debates and also their confusion among the minority communities or the greater part of our population with respect to the implementation of the civil code. Then, a uniform civil code could provide legal clarity and predictability, reducing confusion and ambiguities arising from multiple personal laws. Transition from diverse personal laws to a uniform code might face resistance or challenges, particularly in reconciling different legal frameworks and practices. Then, the gender equality and women's rights. The implemented imposed import in India could potentially impact gender equality and women's rights in personal matters in case of equal rights in marriage. Because in most of the in the present scenario, we can find that a uniform civil code could ensure equal rights of women in marriage by addressing issues such as minimum age of marriage, consent, and conditions for a valid marriage, irrespective of religious affiliation. Basically, I want to weigh in with the case called the Shabana case in 1985, where the Muslim woman, a Muslim person, Shabana has no has uh, forced to go to the Supreme Court for getting the minutes from his husband. where a Hindu or any Christian can easily approach easily get these rights. Where in that scenario, a woman has to fight a long way towards the highest court of India to get her right established in a proper way. So this can be caught as a major challenge which is posed by the religious uniformity of the person laws. Then uniformity in diverse laws. It could provide a uniform framework for diverse, ensuring equal grounds and procedure for both men and women, potentially eliminating discriminatory practices, prevent some personal laws. Right, recently the triple talaq has been criminalized. Like this, there are a lot of practices which are prevailing in the minority communities, so mostly in other communities, where the divorce can be made without even the consent of the woman. And also the religious freedom which is not recognizing women's freedom in marriage can also be challenged or can be eliminated with the implementation of uniform civil code. Then, when it comes to the inheritance of property rights, uniform civil code might aim to ensure equal inheritance right to women, challenging discriminatory practices where woman has limited or no rights to ancestral property or assets. Then most important part of the custody and maintenance when it comes to custody and maintenance, universal civil laws could standardize custody and maintenance rights, ensuring fair and equitable portion for women or children after divorce or separation. However, there are challenges might arise in implementing a uniform civil code uniformly across diverse religious communities, resistant to change, and differing cultural norms could pose obstacles in ensuring immediate and comprehensive gender equality in personal laws. Then, when it comes to the religious freedom and minority concerns, basically the most of the minorities or the people having religious insecurities can be fine opposing peace in court because of they consider it as an impact on religious practice. Basically, most of the religious peoples consider uniform civil code will tarnish their way of religious practice, which has caused a mental agony for them or a type of threat. Yeah, hallucination is a threat for them. Hence, they have posted a way against this uniform civil code. Then threat to minority, when we consider the threat to minority rights, minority communities fear that a uniform civil code might erode their cultural identity and distinctives names by potentially disregarding their customer laws and practices. India's diverse society thrives on pluralism and respect to various religious and cultural practices. Implementing a uniform civil code without due consideration for the diverse practice might be perceived as undermining the pluralistic ethos. Then basically when the uniform civil code is being implemented, one of the major important part is that there will be uniformity among the civil laws. Where in that case the cultural identities or the cultural identities that they consider being the basics of the autonomy that they have to be diluted or marginalized to form that to align with that uniformity. This has also been a concern among the religious freedom and minority people. Then basically, when these concerns are there, the legislature has to make sure that these concerns are being eliminated with clarity and it does not pose any confusion among the communities, so that they can adapt to the law. Basically, the law and the society have like sisters because they have to deal in a harmonious way. Actually, when we consider as a law is growing faster than the society, or vice versa, there will be a little bit of problems happening because when the law is growing without considering the needs of the society, law will act as a limitation to the social growth. And there will be disharmony among the people also. And when the society is growing and the law is not growing as per the growth of society, it even leads to a pulling back effect among the society, and the society cannot be grow beyond certain limits. So law has to be harmonized with the society and the social needs. Here, when the Uniform Civil Code, which is a new law, unifying person laws that the religious people, religiously waived personal laws are being replaced using a uniform civil code. It has to clarify the concerns happening around the society. So the basic legal changes are that the diverse legal frameworks. Basically, each law in India, the most of the communities have their own legal laws, which are diverse from each other. So hence to unify these laws into one is going to be a Herculean task, and also it will needs to launch so criticism from each community because each community will try to uh, promote their own individual practices in the university. So that's why also these are the going to be complex challenges for the drafting a legal framework which can be harmonized with all the personal laws in a way promoting the society in with the concepts of equality, justice, and freedom. Then interpretation and application of these personal laws has to be made by the religious scholars, where the religious, if we cannot, we are not taking the religious scholars into faith, and these are the people who are interested to interpret these religious practices, that is, our religious scholars, are being not included in the formulation of this legal framework. It would also lead to neglecting the basic concepts upon which these religious practices are happening. Because we cannot just prejudicially think that these religious laws are bad or in some way not harmonious with the society, because the society has to entrusted with the freedom to choose their life. Hence, I want to support the fact that with the consensus among the society, only we can only implement uniform synchron. Then political and social resistance is going to be the major roadblock that have going to met with the implementation of informed civil code, because basically the Indian political scenario is very much connected with the religious backgrounds and the roots, where if the political concern, political biases are happening in implementation of uniform civil code, it will go and leads to another disharmony in our society. So it has to be stopped. Hence, the political and the social resistance has to be stopped in a better way by taking all people into trust. Then the major problem that going to happen with the implementation of the code is the fight between the fundamental right versus the artificial state rules. Because from Article 25 to 28, which deals with the religious practices, is coming in conflict with the fundamental artificial state policy, Article 44. In a common jurisprudential way, Article 44 cannot overreach the fundamental rights. But here, the state is not overreaching or being in a conflict with the fundamental rights, but it is enhancing a way for uniformity of bringing uniformity in the personal rights. Hence, judicial interpretation and precedence has to be taken consideration. Societal acceptance and the social education regarding the uniform civil code has to be made, and a transitional arrangements has to be implemented for mitigating these challenges and complexities. As we talked earlier, the societal resistance and counsel. Here we have to make sure that the cultural identities are preserved. Religious freedom and autonomy has to be facilitated. The society who fear the social change and the dispersion must be educated in a certain way to make them confident with the uniform civil code. And the resistance from religious freedom has to be addressed by making them being contributors to the infrastructure policy formulation. Proceed so for this we can use the potential strategies are phased implementation, where each phases determine the way by which the implementation report can be promoted. And the stakeholders engaged, mainly the religious peoples, religious scholars, then the concerned stakeholders representatives, and the legislature has to work on hand with each other to implement the uniform civil code policy without by taking all into trust. Then public awareness and education, as stated earlier. Then consultative committees and commission, so that they can propose better outputs, and also they can predict the trajectory of this implementation as we call, and its basic uh, constraints in a better way. So from the experience of study, some of the major lessons where we can the key takeaways from other countries' experience with the universal report after valuable insights for India are several countries emphasize gender equality in their universal report, striving to eliminate discriminatory practices in personal laws and promote equal rights for men and women in marriage, divorce, inheritance, and property rights. Nations like France and Turkey adopted a secular approach, emphasizing state intervention in family law, prioritizing civil laws over religious laws to ensure legal uniformity and legal equality. Then countries like Tunisia and Germany managed to strike a balance between religious and civil laws by incorporating aspects of religious practices within a civil framework while maintaining a focus on fundamental rights. Then I want to emphasize one point about the Tunisia's code of personal status and Turkey's reform emphasized women's rights, empowering them with women divorce rights, inheritance, and custody, signaling a commitment to gender equality within the Universal Code. The successful implementation of Universal Code often required gradual social transformation, which involve educating the public, fostering acceptance, and addressing cultural norms and attitudes over time. Nations like Israel and Germany allowed for certain religious practices within a predominantly civil legal framework, showcasing a balance between legal uniformity and respecting a cultural and religious diversity. So, the successful implementation involving extensive consultation, consensus building, and engagement with the diverse stakeholders, including religious leaders, legal experts, and civil society, has to be considered and adopted. These takeaway highlight the significance of gender equality, secular principles, gradual societal transformation, and a balancing legal uniformity with respect for cultural and religious diversity. Learning from these experiences can inform India's approach towards a universal reform, emphasizing inclusivity, gender justice, and a nuanced understanding of social dynamics. So, when we consider it as a case study highlighting success and challenges, with regard to the Tunisia Code of Personal Status, the implementation of Comprehensive Code of Personal Status in the 1950s aimed at modernizing family laws, emphasizing women's rights, and ensuring gender equality in marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Despite the successful legal reforms, challenges persisted in societal acceptance and resistance from conservative fractions, highlighting the difficulties in transforming deeply rooted cultural norms. In case of Turkey's civil law reforms, Turkey's early 20th century reforms prioritized secular principles, emphasizing gender equality and women's rights. The reforms aimed to modernize family laws and ensure equal treatment to personal matters. Resistance from traditionalist and conservative segments of society posed challenges to the reforms, reflecting the complexities in altering deeply ingrained societal attitudes and practices. In case of France's Napoleon Code, the Napoleon Code established a uniform civil law system promoting legal uniformity and gender equality in family matters, irrespective of religious affiliations. Challenges arose in reconciling diverse religious practice within a secular legal framework, highlighting the complexities of maintaining uniformity with respect to cultural and religious diversity. In Israel's religious codes and a civil framework, Israel legal system accommodates religious codes of personal matters of various religious communities. This approach allows for a coexistence of religious practice within a predominantly civil legal framework. Challenges surface and concerning disparity between religious and civil laws, especially in matters of marriage, divorce, and inheritance, showcasing the difficulties in balancing diverse legal systems. Basically, in a major case of Germany's family law reforms, Germany's civil law-based family laws ensure gender equality while allowing certain religious practices of faith communities that opt for religious arbitration or mediation. Challenges exist in reconciling legal provisions between civil and religious law, underscoring the complexities of accommodating religious practice with a predominantly civil legal system. These case studies highlights both success and challenges encountered in implementing universal code-like reforms, emphasizing the importance of social acceptance, legal harmonization, gender equality, and the complexities of balancing secular principle with respect for diverse culture and religious practices. So as a recommendation for policy and future consideration, engage in extensive consultation with diverse stakeholders, including religious leaders, legal experts, human rights activities, and minority groups, ensuring their active participation in the formation of a uniform civil code. Adopting a phased approach, initiating reforms in areas with broad consent, such as gender equality in inheritance or marriage law, before addressing such contentious issues, allow for a societal acceptance of over time. Conduct comprehensive public awareness camps and comprehensive legal reforms to harmonize conflicting laws, bridge gaps between personal laws, and ensure a compatibility with constitutional principles, aligning these reforms with the Uniform Civil Code objectives. Embracing an adaptive approach that allows for flexibility, prioritizing provision to ensure a gender equality in marriage, divorce, inheritance, and property rights within the Uniform Civil Code framework. Maintaining transparency among the process, keeping stakeholders informed about the developments, and a strike a balance between legal uniformity and respecting cultural and religious diversity. Foster consensus building among political parties and demonstrating political will to enact uniform civil code related reforms. It will allow for a better policy implementation. As conclusion, we can say that in the present context, the endeavor to harmonize personal law in India through a uniform civil code stands as a monumental yet intricate pursuit, laden with both significance and complexities. The path towards a universal code is filled with complexities. India's diverse tapestry, woven with myriad culture, traditions, and religious beliefs, present formidable challenge in achieving legal uniformity without compromising cultural or religious freedom. Because for a universal code epitomize India's aspiration for a more just and equitable and a progressive society. It requires a harmonious blend of legal reform, societal evolution, and consensus building efforts to weave together a legal fabric that honors diversity while upholding the ideals of equality and justice for all. And I really want to thank the panel members and the program coordinators for giving me such a grand platform to present this paper. Basically, the future possibility of this study is that to make a empirical research regarding the implementation of fossil code and understand the feasibility and the complexities of implementing fossil code. That has been started in association with Center for Advanced Legal Studies and Research, which has allowed me to conduct a research regarding this topic, and empirical study is going on. Hopefully, while in next conference, I can produce a empirical evidential research paper regarding the Indonesian universal report, which will make a complete analysis. Because in this paper we have made a doctoral research, whereas when it comes to the non-doctoral research, empirical research data, we can understand the basic evidential research regarding the implementation of universal report and its feasibility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. for your presentation.